Hello, everybody, and
Good.
welcome to the SHL and SMJHL Award Show for season 85. Joining me this evening, this is your host Nike. Joining me, my co-host and an SHL Awards veteran is Ara. Ara, how are you?
Doing all right tonight, Nike. How about you?
It's great. It's great. Great night to be here. I'm excited to share some award nominees and winners with our league mates. I'm thinking we could probably just jump right in. How about you?
Agreed. Let's get
All
this
right.
started, shall we?
So we will start with the J Awards right here at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then at the conclusion of the J Awards, we will take a quick 4 or 5 minute break and then jump right into the SHL Awards. So with that, Ara, off to you.
All right. First up, we have our returning four-star Cup champions, the Quebec City Citadels. This has been an incredible season for the Citadels, as not only have they clinched yet another four-star Cup, they have also managed to improve their regular season record by quite a margin, up from 46 wins last season to 51 with a total of 105 points. I mean, simply put, Nike, um, given what Revon Toulette and Ramen have achieved this past season, it's no one, and this season is no wonder that they are back here holding the cup yet again. Uh, Suffice to say, they faced an incredible coterie of opponents, but managed to dominate all of them, be it Thunder Bay, Anchorage, or Kelowna, and ended up having a wonderful game with Detroit in the final round. Though some would say QCC may be starting to reach their peak, I personally think, given what we've seen, be it in their roster or their management, we still have quite a journey for them ahead. And here's hoping we see them back in the playoffs next season.
Yeah, great season for Quebec. I think everybody knows QCC was in a place of potentially thinking about a rebuild this season, and that's quite the turnaround. If folks are talking about this might be a down year, and then you see them in the get, earning themselves a four-star cup. So hats off to the Quebec folks, and
Agreed.
great to see them. Great to see them win it again. I'm sure that there will be some folks that will be excited to see perhaps another logo here. But for S85, we've got Quebec City as the four-star cup champions.
Next up, we have the King Krzyzewski Gauntlet, or our South Playoff champions, and we have a surprise Cinderella story this time with the Detroit Falcons. Now, for y'all Detroit fans out there, you know that they have tended to make it to the first round of the playoffs for the last few seasons, but this playoff run was quite shocking for them, given how well they performed against their opponents. Not only did they jump to second overall during the regular season behind QCC with 40 wins and 88 goals, but even managed to carry that into the finals too. They utterly trounced their competition, be it Nevada in the first round, then Ottawa, and finally against San Diego. I mean, simply put, even if they did lose to QCC, the Falcons and their management should have nothing less than utter pride in themselves for how well they did this season. And my personal opinion is if they keep that level of skill and finesse up, they may very well end up clinching the cup. If not next season, then the season after. What do you think, Nike?
Yeah, easily the best team there in the South in the J this season. Really ran through the gauntlet as you mentioned. Finally getting matched up there with San Diego before getting to the four-star cup. So just falling short, but think they've got a great shot again next year. So proud winners, I think, this year of the South Championship.
Agreed. Now we head up north for. Oh, sorry, my apologies. We head back to Quebec City for the winners of the Lorfer Trophy. As I said previously, QCC had one hell of a season. When they can not only manage a 18 win and nearly 20-point lead over their closest competition, you know you have a truly stellar team. When taken on its own, that shows not only how well their management has done in fine-tuning their team for not just regular season play, but playoffs, it shows that you have a truly excellent roster. Getting back into what I said earlier, their record this season was impressive enough on its own, but when they improve it by 5 wins, up from 46 last season, a 9-point improvement and a 0.48 percentage increase, that is truly something remarkable. I mean, it really is a testament to Ramen and Revan Tule's skill as managers and GMs for that, not only this season's performance, but the increase over last season.
Yeah, first 100-point season in the J since St. Louis did it in '83. A 400 goal scoring year for Quebec. The goal differential almost 200 over, and with the closest team behind them, being San Diego at 108. It's just truly dominant season. So well deserving of the Laurifer.
Agreed. Then next up, we have the Jared Hansen Trophy. Hold on. For our regular season point leader, we have from the Citadels, Jerry Durden. Jerry Durden. With regards to top players in the JHL, Jerry not only led the Jays with 107 goals, but also was a force to be reckoned with in assists with a total of 64. No matter which way you slice it, he is the leading edge of QCC's right wing and may very well be an asset for the Citadels in the next season if he keeps this up.
Yeah, I think an impressive season, right? 107 points, not a huge goal scoring output this season. I think the shooting percentage was a little bit below probably some of those leaders, but Durden's got a lot of room to grow. And so to have a high point total like this on a QCC roster that's probably just going to get better next season, great accomplishment and well deserved.
Then next up, we have the Roberto Martucci Trophy. And in a little bit of a change up, we have representing the San Diego title, Bodie Grizz. With a total of 60 goals, he was our regular season goal leader. Now, leading in goals is fairly impressive on its own, but to really see how impressive of a player Grizz is, you need to take a look at him at the whole of the player. Not only did he lead in goals, but he also pulled his weights in point scoring with a total of 90, shots with a total of 240, and shots percentage with 25%. I mean, for a title team that is coming off several years of rebuilding and is year over year proving how much of a powerhouse it can be, Bodie is easily one of the rising stars of their team and may yet be one of the key pillars in a successful title regular season and maybe even a playoff run next season. All told, excellent job, Bodie, and here's looking at a great season, or a great S86 for you and the rest of the title.
Yeah, really a great 85 campaign here, right? I mean, we look at the shooting percentage was phenomenal. The power play time was not meaningful in comparison to perhaps some of the others that were in that goal scoring race. So a lot of 5-on-5 goals. I think 53 of the 60 were at 5-on-5. So that speaks a lot to how talented of a goal scorer we have here, and that really rings a bell when you start to think about Martucci. It's perfectly named trophy and a well-deserved win for Grizz here in 85.
Right. And we head back to QCC for one of their new bloods. The winner of the Ronan O'Keefe Trophy, or our playoffs point leader, was Annie Time. Now, as you know, sorry. While the Citadels benefit from a phenomenal squad, there are a number of excellent rookies, of which Annie is one. She normally during their rookie season, rookies tend to struggle in the playoffs, but having Annie out of the gate be the goal point leader during a phenomenal playoff run is incredible. And that's not the end of it, because not only did she lead in points scored during this campaign, but she also led in assists and put up a respectable number of shots and power play goals as well. I mean, when you have a rookie that can hit 22 assists, score 68 shots, and get 3 power play goals in a rather rough campaign, you know you have someone special. But yeah, I mean, you could not ask for a finer rookie.
Yeah, I think what else is there to be said, right? I think the first game out for QCC, and he has 3 points, playoff premiere, first time out, and then just basically never looked back. Led that team basically in scoring through the entirety of the playoffs. So it's a well-known playoff performer is not necessarily what Annie is. So shows up on day one as a rookie and really stretches that. So that's an incredible accomplishment and well-deserved award here.
Agreed. Next up, we have the Matt Lewis Flood Trophy with yet more reps from QCC. Repping QCC for best regular season save percentage are Puck Norris and Dakota Glover Jr. I know we're starting to sound like a broken record at this point, but the facts are facts, folks. You have a QCC squad which across the board leads or is top tier in almost every aspect. Be it in goals or be it, as said, with save percentage here, with a save percentage of 0.896 and 0.913 respectively. Puck and Dakota led or were at the top of their classes. Taken in conjunction with Puck's excellent save performance and wins as well as shutouts, you have 2 solid additions to the Citadel goalie line. I mean, I know, again, keep repeating it, but they are yet another building block and reason why we keep seeing QCC back here year after year. And they keep it up. I would not be surprised if they prove themselves to be credible assets for the Citadels in the future.
Yeah, two leading goaltenders. Oftentimes I think folks tend to find that these are team awards. Quebec City was far and away the best team this season, and Puck Norris and Glover Jr. were both just essentially, building on top of that. So a well-deserved and expected, I would suppose, Lewis Flood trophy for Quebec's goaltenders.
All right, and next up we have the all-rookie team. Care to give us some insight on this one, Mikey?
No, I think as we talked about, right, the Quebec certainly saw that they got the most out of folks that are young and growing. Nice to see a couple new names here. I think Zilliams had a great season in nets for Newfoundland, and then obviously Buffalo or Buffel playing for the Grizzlies. Great season. I think it's exciting. These are folks that are gonna likely be in the conversation for awards over the course of the next 2 or 3 seasons as they continue to grow in the J.
Agreed, and we should end up seeing many of them hopefully back in either the various award nominations or end up leading some of the categories for skaters next year. But here's looking to y'all, and here's hoping y'all do well next season. All right, next up we have the all defense team. And in a little bit of a break from what we've been seeing, we do have a nice mix of team representation here. On forward, we have Rocco Kirby from Anchorage, as well as Wrath from Newfoundland, and from the main timber, we have Old Man from Scene 24. Representing Scarecrows on defense, we have Neko Suki, and back to Anchorage on defense, we have Gabriel Oliver Koivu, and then we have on goalie, Puck Norris. I mean, I don't know about you, but it seems like we have a nice mix of solid players and top-level defenders here. Wouldn't you agree, Nike?
Yeah, great mix. I think these are folks that are both established, have been in the J for a couple of seasons, as well as some newcomers. So it's a great mix. This is a great defensive team. I love to see the awards committee go to celebrating folks that play perhaps on the other side of the puck, because we don't see that quite as often. So well-deserved all defense team for the 6 folks here.
Agreed. Next up, we have our second all-star team, and like our all-defense team, we have a nice mix of established players and new faces. Back, or representing Kelowna on forward, we have Luca Lilja. For forward from Newfoundland, we have Dylan Evans. Back again, we have on forward for the title, Bodie Grizz. On defense from Vancouver, we have Quentin Hennessy. On defense from Anchorage, we have Cameron Urchin. Sorry about that. Mullen. And for the Kraken on goalie, we have Colton. I mean, I think you put it best with when you said this for the all-defense team, Nike, but it is good to see the awards committee make a selection of both established players and give recognition to some new faces, as well as some folks we haven't seen in a while. I mean, to be honest, I think we have each of these players here having shown their skill this season, and I hope we do see a lot of them back next season.
Yeah, this is where you get to be splitting hairs a little bit between the first and the second team All-Stars. I know we'll get there in a minute, but there's some names on this page that'll be we'll talk about in a few more minutes.
Yes.
We've already talked about Brody, for example, right? So some standout seasons. It's like there's a lot of competition when you start to get to the top 6, forwards, the top 4 defensemen. So kudos to this group.
Agreed. Next up, we have our first All-Star team. And as Nike said, when it comes to the All-Star team, the committee really has to split hairs. And when you get to this level, the truly greats really start to stand out. Now, y'all will see a few faces from here, namely Jerry Durden and Puck Norris, we've already talked about, but they are not the only ones shining here today. In particular, we have from the title, Brain Fluid Explosion on forward, which we'll talk some more about him in a little bit. On forward for Colorado, we have PDO Merchant, and on defense for the title, we have Sena Palu, and then representing QCC on defense, we have Pride Tape. As we've been saying, we have a nice mix of new and old faces, some returning veterans, be it Pride Tape, and I believe I've seen Sena Palu before, but all in all, really solid squad and truly stand out here.
Yeah, I think Brain Fluid finished second in the J in scoring. Palu we'll talk about a little bit later for defensive prowess, of course, but you look at this group of 6, and if you could put those all in one roster, that'd be a heck of a first line and goaltending pair to try to go up against. So I think this absolutely represents the best of the best for the J this season.
Agreed. Next up, we have the Elias Armia Trophy for the Commissioner's Award in Excellence. And our winner is Noxu. Now, many of you know Noxu. He has established quite a reputation for himself. But I'll let the words of the committee and the commissioner speak for themselves here. Throughout this past season, Noxu has maintained not only his presence as a member of the SMJHL head office, but as an important part of the SEM and file work teams for the SMJHL too. Coupled with this, Noxu has taken the helm at reintroducing and creating the format for the Prospect Bowl and making it a viable season after season. Now, it isn't always obvious the work he does or puts into the league, and especially the JHL, due to being behind the scenes, especially when it is on sim team from his time in deep dives or elsewhere. But truly, this season, Schwartz and Reno are so excited and proud to offer this award to Noxu for all of this work and for a successful prospect bowl, as well as a format that will hopefully continue to last. Now, a bit off the cuff here, but both of us have had the opportunity to work with Noxu, be it in events, broadcasts, sim, deep dives, or elsewhere. He is a phenomenal user, truly cares about the community, and you could not ask for a more worthy recipient of this trophy.
Yeah, Noxu he's everywhere. He's doing all the things. I think, we get to GM together, so I get a lot of one-on-one time with Noxu, and it's a special relationship that we have. But I know how much he is important to the J, all the work that he does in the draft. He obviously is a simmer, and I know that this season and last season in particular, he spent a lot of time helping fill gaps where there were folks that weren't going to be around and available, as well as all the work that I think Schwartz and Reno highlighted here with the Prospect Bowl. As folks join the league, they're coming into the league. That lull between joining and draft date can be long, and so Noxu and Corey and others that have been working on making sure that we have an avenue to get folks engaged and start to see some players in the sim. It's a great nod, and we can't thank Noxu enough for all that he's doing for the J.
I mean, the only piece of advice I would give him is, Noxu, do take time to rest and relax a little bit, bud. Make sure you don't extend yourself or overextend yourself, okay? Don't need you burning out after all. Anyways, next up, we have the Nor Harak Award for top GMs. I know y'all are probably getting a little annoyed with me sounding like a broken record at this point, but from QCC, we have Raman Aman and Revon Tulete. What can I say about these two that I haven't already said? They are a phenomenal GM duo, and you've seen evidence of this time and time again, be it on the ice, be it in the QCC war room and locker room, or in the culture of excellence they have created, be it in sim or elsewhere. I mean, there's a reason they keep making the finals and keep winning the 4-star, and their work is testament to itself. Now, if memory serves, I believe you had something to say about Frenchie and Luttrell, right, Nike?
That's right. Yeah. So, Frenchie and Luttrell obviously taking a 13th place J finish for Ottawa last season. They finished 7th this year, so up 11 additional wins over the prior year. So I think it's a well-deserved nomination for Frenchie and Luttrell. I think that Ottawa team is continuing to grow with their leadership, and so it's exciting to see where they'll potentially end up as that team continues to mature. Similarly, I'll just keep jotting right along in terms of Kelowna. I think we know what Patrick and Sobrian have started to build for a culture there. Those guys bleed that gold and green, and I think it really showed this season. I think Kelowna finished in the bottom 2 or 3 spots of the league last season, and then obviously had a phenomenal year this year, finishing 4th in the league, 41 wins. Obviously didn't get quite as deep of a run in the playoffs as they probably would have hoped, but you can just tell the culture, right? That Knights culture has always been there, and Patrick and Sobrian have really just carried it on. So a well-deserved nomination here for top GM.
Agreed. And as for Dudeman and More or Less, to put this into perspective, 3 seasons ago in S82, 4 seasons ago, San Diego was in last place in overall standings and did not even crack the playoffs. Over the following 4 seasons, they have managed to take a team that was in the basement and turn it into a truly viable contender, not just for top marks in the regular season, but in the playoffs as well. The fact that relatively new GMs can do that in such short order is a testament to their skill, as well as creating a culture that is welcoming to rookies and is quite fun to be around in both for newcomers and veterans alike. Truly, hats off to you two. And our winner for the Norharak is our Raman Amin and Revon Tulete of the Quebec City Citadels. And again, to reiterate what I said, their record over this season and last season and the improvements between them is a testament as to why they are our winners. Then next up, we have the Zach Miller Award for Most Dedicated User. Our nominees are Cherith Cute Story 78, Downer, and Degradation. Leading off for Cherith, having worked with Cherith for the last few seasons, they are almost everywhere in the league and in every department, be it in deep dives, HO, or a litany of other places. You don't get much more dedicated than that. Not only has he held many league jobs, but he is super helpful, incredibly reliable, and always willing to lend a hand, be it to veteran or rookie alike. Now, what about Downer? Nike, what do you think of them?
Yeah, so I think, the J team certainly wanted to recognize all the work that Downer has put in on the dev team, working with the portal, making sure that we've got all the kind of data collected for the league as a whole. So I think everybody in the SHL, whether they know it or not, is probably touching some code that Downer has helped us develop. And so the site can't run without folks like Downer, and so I think just a well-deserved nomination for all the hard work and the dedication for everything that Downer and the rest of the development team is doing on a daily, weekly basis to keep us up and running, and also
Agreed.
bringing us new features on a regular basis.
Agreed. And moving on to Degradation. Degradation is similar to Cherith in that they have really done a phenomenal job across multiple departments, be it in taking leading roles in JHO, WJCHO, or working as a WJC GM, working in deep dives, or working in the Carolina Kraken. I mean, they have really proven their commitment to the league, have helped out multiple users, and are always a friendly face to be around. And to be honest, I think I can say this as much as any other user. Many of us would be proud to have Degradation representing us, be it in our departments or elsewhere. And our winner for the Zach Miller is Degradation. Congratulations, Degradation, and keep up the excellent work. Next up, we have the Jack Cross Award for Most Underrated. And for this one, I'll turn this over to you, Nike.
Yeah, there is a huge list of folks here, so we won't necessarily go through every single person on it, but there's a couple of names here that we've already seen in Cherith Q Story, Degradation. There's some folks that have been around the league for a long time in Jorik and Wozy. We've got some new names on the list. So just well-represented group. I think this goes to show you the depth of the depth of both the J as a league, but the SHL as a whole. That you have, what is there, eight names on this list for most underrated, right? I think there's a number of folks, and we recognize that as we walk through an award ceremony like tonight, we can't recognize everybody. So I start to just think overall as a whole that if you're not seeing your name on the list, just think that we very much could have this list as long as 12, 15, 20 players, because it's just so hard to recognize everybody in a league full of so many great people. So just congrats to all the folks that were nominated for Most Underrated, the Jack Cross Award.
And as for our winner, our winner from the Carolina Kraken are actually two, Wreck-It Ralph and Degradation. With regards to Degradation, as said, You heard what I said for the Zach Miller, and there's a reason why he won it. But oh, stupid me. With disregard that. So yeah, our winners are Wreck-It Ralph and Degradation. For Wreck-It Ralph, acquired the most TPE among the SMJHL players, and y'all saw what we said about Degradation earlier. Next up, we have the Alex Light Award for Most Improved. Representing Carolina, we have Colton. He has been nominated before for some awards in previous seasons, but otherwise has massively improved his GSAA from 1.02 and S84, save percentage, and GAA by orders of magnitude this season. From last season, his save percentage is up from .880 to .889. His GSAA is up from 1.02 to a massive boost to 21.35. And he did well on his GAA as well. I mean, combined with securing a spot on the All-Star team, he really has gone far in proving his worth to Carolina. And I can only see him becoming an incredible asset to the team if he keeps this up. From Kelowna, we have Jonathan Selleck. With improvements in goals, assists, and plus/minus from last season, with 18, 30, and 48 in S84 respectively, to 42, 37, and 79 this season, he is yet another player showing massive improvement from last season. As said, it's a testament to Kelowna's coaching staff that he is here, and he is one it would do well to watch in future seasons. And with regards to Ryan Wolf, it's a similar deal. I know we had talked about how well Dude Man and More or Less had done in fostering a culture of improvement and excellence in previous nominees and slides, but Ryan here is yet another example of how far their techniques and management have come in producing high-quality players and improvement. With a massive improvement in his goals won from 15 to 22, in assists from 27 to 64, and such a large improvement in plus/minus, you cannot ask for a better example of an improved player. And that is why Ryan Wolf is our Alex Light winner. Congratulations, Ryan, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, I think I just add, right, a player that basically took exactly the same amount of minutes year over year from their rookie season in the J to their sophomore season, and made, as you mentioned, pretty significant 44 additional points on the year over last year. Minimal power play time, so really just crushing that second season, and so really well deserved Alex Light here for Wolf.
Agreed. Next up, we have the Brandon Holmes Top Defensive Forward Award. Representing Ottawa, we have Show Para with 213 hits, 58 blocks, 72 points, and a takeaway giveaway average of 0.84. Yet another rep from QCC, we have Matthew Murdoch with 190 hits, 40 blocks, 69 points, and a 0.93 takeaway giveaway. And Frank Drebin from the Raptors with 219 hits, 61 blocks, 63 points, and a 0.51 takeaway giveaway. I mean, all in all, you have a trio of excellent defensive forwards here that have performed well across this season. I mean, I do not envy the committee for having to pick between these three. What do you think, Nike?
Yeah, I think as you look at the numbers here, right, there's quite a bit of noise as you start to look for the defensive forwards, and I think in and out. I'll give you a minute to announce the winner, but I think that the real difference maker here was the advanced stats as you start to look at, takeaways, giveaways, some of the work around Corsi that we have available to us. We can see some of those underlying metrics, and that's why we ended up with our winner here. But I'll let you take the reins for that one. All right.
Agreed. And our winner for the Brandon Holmes is Matthew Murdoch from QCC. And again, I sound like a broken record, but the fact we have so many QCC reps, there's a reason for it, folks. And yet another testament to the quality of their S85 squad. Next up, we have the Killa Agante Award for Top Defender. Returning from the All-Stars team, we have Pride Tape with a takeaway giveaway of 3.83, 178 hits, 100 blocks, and 82 plus slash minus. Another return rep from Vancouver, we have Quentin Hennessy, I love the name, by the way, with a 2.34 takeaway giveaway, 183 hits, 133 blocks, 27 plus slash minus. And as we said, we would be talking about Senna Palo, and here she is, or here they are, with a 4.13 takeaway giveaway, 143 hits, 116 blocks, and 53 plus slash minus. As Nike said, you really have to get into the advanced stats to be able to look past the noise and really see what sets these players apart. Would you not agree, Nike?
Yeah, I think when you start to look at all three, there's some differences here in the takeaways, the giveaways, but when we start to get into the defensive, it's a little bit harder than just looking at points. And so I look down this list, and there's three well-deserving candidates. But I have a couple more comments specifically about the winner, so I'll let you jump to the winner and then jump back in.
Next up, we have Senna Palo. From this, our winner is Senna Palo from the San Diego title. And Nike, I will let you take it away with your comments.
Yeah, so I think just as I look at what Palo accomplished this year, the title overall, we're the second best team in the J this year in terms of goal differential. And when you start to look at that, that's because Palo was really helping them drive possession. Senna led the entire J in takeaways, played all over the ice for the title, both on the power play, shorthanded. Third season into the J, has one more season of eligibility left. So I think that off the back of the Agante win is probably going to be the number one D for San Diego, looking, in this fourth season for a chance at a 4-star.
Agreed. They will definitely be one of the driving forces for any future title playoff run. So I am willing to bet we will see them back here next year. But anywho, on to the Alexis Metzler Award for Top Defensive Defender. And we have Gary Winters representing Newfoundland with a takeaway giveaway of 2.00, 157 hits, 200 blocks, and a 4.43 DPS overall, very solid. For representing the San Diego title, we have, one second here, my apologies, Eneklos with a 4.13 takeaway giveaway, 131 hits, 164 blocks, and a 4.45 for DPS. Back again, representing QCC, we have Pride Tape with a 3.83 takeaway giveaway, 178 hits, 100 blocks, 5.14 DPS. And representing SDT, again, we have Senna Palo with a 4.13 takeaway giveaway, 143 hits, 115 blocks, and 4.59 DPS. When you break it down here, you have 4 solid contenders for the Metzler and 4 excellent to very elite defensive defenders. As you saw in the Agante, Sinapolu is one of the top defenders in the JHL, as are Pride Tape and as are Inek, with Gary Winters being phenomenal as well. But when deciding on the Metzler Award winner, the committee goes beyond just these stats, impressive as they are. And I believe my co-host has some more to offer on that. Do you not, my friend?
I think just generally, right? The one thing that stuck out to me when we started to go through the nominees for the awards is there are 4 names on this page. We don't traditionally see 4 names on the page for any given award. So having 4 sets of nominees just tells you how difficult of a time that the committee had deciding who the top defensive defender was going to be for the J this season. And so, as you walk down the list, you've got 2 top defenders from San Diego, who was phenomenal all year. You've got Pride Tape from QCC, obviously was a dominant team. And then we have our winner of the Alexis Metzler, Mr. Gary Winters from Newfoundland. So I think all the things that you said remain true. Gary had a phenomenal season, was in the mix with all the top defenders there. Again, nothing specifically stands out, just like a very well-rounded, all-around great defensive season from Gary, which I think as we start to look at the details, but behind all of those players, there were kind of like different edges here and there, but I think Gary just had that little bit of a razor-thin margin across the board, and that's where the awards committee went.
Agreed. And what we said for both the Metzler and the Agante hold true for the Cedric Robinson Award as well. When you have players that make the All-Star team, are on a dominant team like QCC, or even among the top of their class like Clorda Skiertech, the committee has a difficult choice and has to look at where they edge each other out, where they lead over their competitors. Now, when you have a goalie like Colton who has made significant improvements since last season, has made the All-Star team, when you have someone like Puck Norris who has done well, not only improving themselves from last season, but played a leading role for QCC. And the same holds true for Skiertech. It is a difficult choice. I mean, Nike, put bluntly, I do not envy you guys on the committee for having to pick between 3 top goalies like this. And the fact there are 3 really shows how the nominees shine this season. So, care to give us some insight on what your thought process was here, or the committee's thought process was here?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look here, right, these are 3 of your top 5 goalies, I believe, in goals saved above average. Colton really carried a middle of the road Kraken team this season with phenomenal play, and then obviously Puck Norris and Clorda Skiertech, I'll get it right, I promise. Both leading goaltenders on top 5 rosters. I think in a league that continues to value offense over everything, to see 3 goalies here that are really crushing it. So I think with that, we could probably name our winner.
Agreed. And our winner for the Cedric Robinson is Puck Norris. And to reiterate what I've said before for the last time, the fact that Puck has won multiple awards tonight, as well as continues to be one of the leading QCC players, is just a testament not only to his skill, but those of his team. Anywho.
Yeah. And I think Puck specifically, right?
Yes.
Second best goals against average in the league. That top goals saved above average number was top 5 in saves for the year. So did see a lot of rubber for the whole year. I think
Agreed.
as much as we've spent a lot of time talking about QCC, I think Puck certainly carried them for quite a lot of the year, and it's an
Oh,
impressive
without
win here.
question. It is yet another impressive win in their belt for this. And again, it would not surprise me if we see them back again. Next up, we have the Isa Enriqueken Award for Top Rookie. We have up first from QCC, Arthas Emirates with 34 goals, 61 assists, 95 points, 196 hits, and a 65 plus or minus. Back again for QCC, we have Annie Time with 42 goals, 52 assists, 94 points, 120 hits, 57 plus slash minuses. And then leading the tail end of the pack, we have Takaharu Suzuki with 33 goals, 51 assists, 84 points, 76 hits, and 73 plus slash minus. I really think for the Enrican Cannon Award, it was a very difficult choice. You had plenty of rookies on the QCC squad that shined both in the regular season and especially in the playoffs. For the regular season, Emrys and Suzuki were among the top rookies for QCC, and it really does show, be it here with the stats we have listed or on the advanced stats in the index. And to reiterate what I said about Annie Time, the fact that you had that high level of a performance from a rookie is very rare, especially in a playoff run. And it's just a testament to not just their skill, but the way QCC has built their team and has taught their rookies.
Yeah, and I think if you look at these three, right, we're talking we're talking all folks on the same roster. Suzuki probably had the better of the opportunity playing alongside Murdoch and Durden, who we've already talked about. So I think that some of the numbers may be a little bit bloated there, having an opportunity to center that line with those two great players on either wing, versus Time and Emery's playing together. And I've got to help make sure we get the pronunciation right, because I think that Are They Us and Memories was exactly what we were asked to get that one pronounced. So I think with that, we can go to our winner of the Top Rookie Award.
And for the Top Rookie Award would be Are They Us and Memories. Congratulations. And I know I say it every year, but keep up the good work. Next up, we have the Brody Witzel Award for Playoff MVP. Back yet again, we have Annie Time, we have Are They Us Emery's, Takaharu Suzuki, and repping Detroit, we have Charlie Matthews.
Hold on, Ari, you got out ahead of us. We've got the Ideen Fala Most Valuable Player before we go to the playoff MVP. No, all good.
My PC glitched out for a second there. We have the Ideen Fala Award for Most Valuable Player. Back representing QCC, we have Jerry Durden. Representing the title, we have Brain Fluid Explosion. And also representing the title, we have Bodie Grez. I mean, I don't think there's much more I could add on any of these players, given what we've said already. Each is a leader in their own right and has done or is one of the top 10 players across multiple categories this past season, be it in goals, be it in defense or points or elsewhere. I mean, the fact that you have them being eligible, nominated, or winning multiple awards is just a testament to their skill. and speaking on a personal note, it is incredible to see representatives and nominees from the title up here, especially with the quality we've seen with Brain Fluid and Bodie so far.
Yeah, I think if you look at these three, right, you've got your goal scoring leader, you've got your points leader, and then you've got your second in goal scoring and points for the season. So it is an offensive league, absolutely, and these are the three top offensive players from 85.
Agreed. And I think given they are our offensive leaders, it's only natural that our award winner would be the top or the cream of the crop for the offensive leaders. The Ideen Fala goes to Jerry Durden from QCC. Congratulations.
Congrats, Jerry. And I think that the one difference maker here are, from my point of view, as we started to look deeper into the stats, was really just driving offense. I think all three were point getters. All three were making a difference. But when you start to look at the shot totals for Durden, there were only two others in the league from the Newfoundland roster that really put more pucks on the net. Brain Fluid, obviously, and Bodie, both higher in that goal scoring caveat area, but just I think that Jerry drove more offense by getting pucks to the net, and that really was the difference maker.
Agreed. And now we move on to the Brody Witzel, folks, for our playoff MVP. Y'all know the names. Y'all have seen how well and how skilled many of them have been throughout these playoffs. But I do feel like since we've covered our QCC representatives, it might not hurt to give a little bit of a spotlight to Charlie Matthews. Wouldn't you agree, Nike?
Yeah, I mean, I think Charlie set apart, right? We look at a Detroit team that made a run. We know everything that Suzuki, Emrys, and Time did in the playoffs to help QCC along to their 4-star. But Matthews had a wonderful playoff, deserved a nomination. And so again, like you look at 4 names on the list, I think that's how tight it is. But when we start to get to playoff MVP, I think the story was pretty well told. This specific season, excuse me.
Okay, agreed on that, Nike. And our winner for the Witzel is Are They Emrys? Congratulations once again, and here's hoping we see you yet again next year. For the Raymond Lindsay Players MVP Award, we have a couple of returning nominees. We have Jerry Durden from QCC, Brain Fluid Explosion from San Diego, and Bodie Grizz for San Diego. And what can be said at this point that we haven't already said? All three are incredible players in their own rights, be it on offense, sports, or elsewhere. I mean, the fact that, and it really does speak to their skill, that they are recognized not only by the committee, but their peers as well.
Yeah, not much more to say about this one, but
yeah,
I think this is, again,
I think it's
the top 3.
Oh, yeah. And back yet again as one of our winners, we have Jerry Durden. Congratulations.
Yeah, and so this is the nod to, right, being voted by the players versus voted by the committee. So Jerry takes the sweep of MVP.
Agreed. And that, folks, will conclude our show for tonight. Congratulations to all of our nominees, members of the All-Star and all defensive teams, as well as everyone else we got to recognize here tonight. We will be taking a brief break, and we'll be back shortly with the SHL Awards. Stay tuned.
All right, folks, we are back for the SHL portion of the show. Thank you, everybody who has stuck around. Thanks for folks that are just joining us. All right, I will hand it over to you to lead us in.
Appreciate it, Nike. Well, as he said, folks, welcome to the S85 SHL Awards, and we have quite the show for you. So let's get this started, shall we? First up, we have our Challenge Cup champions, the Edmonton Blizzard. Far and away the best team in both the regular season and the playoffs. This season was the culmination of the last few seasons of hard work and routine face-offs against the Inferno the Blizzard had, and they finally managed to clinch the win over the Inferno this season in their fourth straight meeting. Next up, we have our Eastern Conference champions, the Atlanta Inferno. They had been going for a three-peat this season, given this was the fourth consecutive trip to the Challenge Cup. They defied the commentary of many that their roster had begun to age and they were set for a decline. Not only did they make quick work of Nashville, but they ended up besting the Forge and the Rage as well, until closing out in a rather surprising series with Edmonton this year. Now, moving back to the West, we have our Western Conference champions, Edmonton. As previously mentioned, this has been the first time since S82 that the Blizzard managed to win the Challenge Cup. And out of the West, after making quick work of Calgary in round one, and after two truly grueling and nail-biting series against New Orleans and Seattle. And speaking as a member of the Blizzard, it was pretty down to the wire with that series against Seattle. And it was quite a relief. Moving on to the President's Trophy. Hold on here. Just waiting to get caught up here. Sorry for the delay, folks. All right, there we are. Sorry about that. Where were we? The Blizzard finished the regular season with a points percentage of 8.894 and bested our historic performance last season with one more victory for a... 1 second, sorry about that. As I was saying, we ended up seeing an improvement from last season with one more victory, accounting for a total of 118 points across 66 games. Yet, as astounding as that scoring was, we did end up taking a moderate step back compared to last season's campaign. Overall, we ended up finishing with a goal differential of plus 254, which ended up being the best in the league by a large margin of 80 goals, as well as, which was complemented by stellar goaltending and, sorry about that, hold on, and one of our best defensive cores in recent history. Next up, we have the Sergei Karpatsov Award for regular season point leader. And this, surprise, surprise, is one of our key players, Gwendolyn Tellin. During the regular season, Gwen led the league with 137 points. Effectively, she served as the center of our offense in near every game. She also ended up leading the forwards in time on ice and had an extremely balanced scoring output with a total of 74 goals and 83 assists. This was on top of, which essentially served to bolster what is widely considered the best offense in our league in S85. All in all, she was one of the cores of the Blizzard and one of the major reasons for success this season. Next up, we have the J. McDonald Trophy with Alib Kovac. Now, this trophy is for the most goals in regular season. Cove ended up leading with 68 goals during the regular season and then ended up doing it again in the playoffs. He really showed off what we have come to expect from players in the center position over the last few seasons, with a modest shooting percentage and finishing third in the league in overall shot totals. With regards to efficiency in putting the puck in the net this season, you could not ask for a finer person to do it than Cove. And while we did end up seeing his shorthanded prowess last season with a total of 6, he did fall a little short with only 2 added this season and 7 on the power play. That ended up leaving 59 of his 68 or 67% of his tallies at 5-on-5. Overall, still, it was enough to put him as the league lead in goals, and he was a major reason for Atlanta's success this season. Next up, we have the Turd Ferguson Trophy for most penalties in minutes, and that goes to a surprise rep from the New England Wolfpack, Lily Jen Moreau with 73 PEMs. Representing the left wing of the Wolfpack, Moreau ended up scoring, was also the regular season point leader for New England. And this is also the first time we have seen Lily Jen Moreau return to the top player rankings in any category since S83. Overall, they are a phenomenal player that served to anchor an otherwise rebuilding New England squad. All right.
I don't know that I would call it a rebuild, Ara, but
okay, sorry.
But certainly, I would just add, Lily is certainly premier two-way center, well known amongst the league, and a phenomenal 1-2 punch with Belanger down the middle for New England. I think willing to go to the dirty areas, has the propensity to play up and down the lineup, have more minutes. Just a great leader, the all-around play. Certainly not necessarily represented in the time she spent in the box, but I think that this is a phenomenal forward.
Agreed. Then next up, we have the Mike Honcho Trophy for least goals allowed in the regular season, with it shared between Abby Reitbach and Wolfgang Puck. Between them, they allowed 170 goals. Sorry about this. Trying to get this here. Now, both Abby Reitbach and Wolfgang Puck were key parts of the Blizzard squad this season. For them, you ended up seeing 48 wins, which was a league lead for both, and 6 shutouts. Nike Teamline taking over for a second. I've got to go handle this cat.
Yeah, of course. I think as you just, it is the top team in the Western Conference, workhorse season for right back, really just, led the league in wins, led the league in shutouts. It wasn't just a goaltender that had great numbers, but really, elevated the Edmonton team. And I really think that Wolfgang was no slouch either. When you look for a backup, 13 appearances, 10 wins, 3 shutouts, landed 5th in the league in goals against with a 258. I think overall, as we look at the honcho here, Edmonton's goaltender really elevated them all season long. As we round out the trophies for regular season performance, or I should say those that are given just based on the results of the season, would love to take a minute to just kind of quickly pause and run through our all rookie team and our all stars. So we'll jump over to the rookie team. We've got Toivu Joikinen, Silver Terrandis, Thomas Passarelli, Rondelis Ringo Ramat, Roy Dees Rivers, and KJ Daniels. I think we will hear a few more of these names as we get towards the Jester later in the show. But a great smattering of folks from a number of different teams. It's great to see some folks on some already established playoff teams in New England and in Manhattan, and then we see a growing team in Texas. I think again we'll talk about a couple of folks there later when we get to the Jester. Passarelli had a phenomenal season, and KJ Daniels a real standout. Helped to bring a Calgary team from the edge of the playoffs to getting their first berth, I think, in 3 or 4 seasons. So a great celebration of these folks.
Agreed. And next up, we have our third all-star team. We have a nice mix of new and old faces. We have from Texas. We have on forward Thomas Hudson. Representing Forge on forward, we have Merrick Carta. Representing the Wolfpack on forward, we have Lily Jen Moreau. And then on defense for Minnesota, we have a face I have not seen in a while, Dieter Fruchtig. On defense on defense, God damn it, hold on.
For the sound.
Yeah, sorry.
was Jet Labyrinth, who had a great season this year, and then rounded out, I think in his final season, was John Gibson, making the All-Star team before he hangs him up and comes back again, hopefully as a skater. So I think we'll move on to the second All-Star team.
Okay, sorry about that. My
cat
is dancing across my keyboard. Representing the Blizzard on forward, we have Sonia Solberg. Representing Atlanta on forward, we have Nathangus McExplosion. Representing Manhattan, we have Yuri Boyka III. Representing the Blizzard, we have Jennifer Ho. Representing Hamilton on defense, we have Will Nuck. And then our goalie for the second All-Star team is Elvar Gil-Galad. As said, we have seen some of these faces before, especially the Sonia. All in all, solid set of representatives here, and really just goes to show how much they have shined this season that they are here. Next up, we have our first All-Star team. Back again for the Blizzard on forward, we have Gwendolyn Tellen. We have, representing the Rage, Elib Cove. On forward for the Blizzard, we have Alexa Johnson. For the Wolfpack, we have Troy McClure. And then on defense for the Blizzard, we have Dash Jackson. And as our goalie, we have Abby Wright-Bach. As said, we have a solid core, or a solid group here of top-tier players, especially with the reps from the Blizzard, Troy McClure on defense, and Elib Cove. I mean, the fact that they are here really is a testament to how elite their players are. And then next up, we have the John McBride for Best Goaltender. And I think you did an excellent job of introducing our nominee from Edmonton in Abby Wright-Bach, Nike. Representing Denver, one second here, we have Bishop, sorry about this, we have Bishop Van Apeldoorn. And representing the Forge, we have Katarina Rosenthal. All in all, you have three very elite goalies here that have performed at the top of their classes, be it in GSAA or in GAA and Abby Wright box case, or with the case for Bishop finishing third in GSAA, and faced heavy action or more action this season than any of our other nominees. With regards for Rosenthal, she served 3 seasons in Winnipeg and was right at home leading a playoff-bound team to finish, and all the while finishing top 4 in GSAA and 7th in save percentage. I mean, the fact that you have these 3 elite goaltenders here, I can only imagine how difficult it was for y'all to make this choice. With that being said, I will let my partner in crime here give us a little insight on our winner, Abby Wright-Bach.
Yeah, so the winner of the S85, John McBride, is Abby Wright-Bach. No mistake, phenomenal by every metric this season in Edmonton. And elevated an already dangerous team, and as we mentioned earlier, really just backed by a phenomenal defensive core in front, really helped to propel the Edmonton team all of the regular season to their best finish. We talk about wins often as a team statistic, but Abby led the league in wins, was the best, goals saved above average, and third in goals against all season. So just a well-deserved McBride for Abby this season.
Agreed. Next up, we have the Scott Stevens Best Defenseman Award. Our nominees are, representing Edmonton, Dash Jackson. Representing Nashville, we have Jet Labyrinth. And representing New England, we have Troy McClure III. All 3 performed incredibly well this season. With regards to Dash, he scored a total of 13 goals, got 54 assists, had 173 blocks, 81 hits, and a giveaway takeaway of 1357. For Jet Labyrinth, had 18 goals, slightly higher than Dash, with 48 assists, 171 blocks, 102 hits, and a giveaway takeaway of 33,108. With regards to Troy, total of 22 goals, 48 assists, 172 blocks, 128 hits, and a giveaway takeaway of 1299. With regards to Dash, he led the SHL defenders in assists with a total of 54 this season and finished just 1 point shy of the point lead. All in all, played a phenomenal 2-way game all season, both on Edmonton in terms of power play and in terms of PK. For Jet Labyrinth, he really was the breakout star for Nashville this season, finishing third in defensive scoring, and was a enormous part for the team's, or for the league's 5th best power play. And with regards for Troy, I mean, there's a reason he is back here, and his S83 win for the Scott Stevens, and being back yet again after another incredible season, topping the SHL and scoring by defenders, it's no wonder he's back. So all in all, 3 incredible nominees. But
yeah,
I will leave Nike to detail our winner.
Yeah, it's a super close call this season. I think just across the board, the committee probably rolls back over and they find themselves a winner in Troy McClure, the 4th technically, I suppose. McClure was just the best overall defender in the league this season, led the league in scoring, an enormous 17 power play goals, finished in the top 10 in hits, over 170 shot blocks. The shot suppression stats were phenomenal. Just not something you often see at this level. The domination by McClure, truly kind of a once in a lifetime defenseman, and wins yet another Stevens here. So an absolutely premier performance and a phenomenal season capped off by a Stevens win.
Right. Next up, we have sorry about that. We have the Bojo Biscuit Award for Best Defensive Defenseman. Our nominees are Jennifer Huh from Edmonton, Troy McClure III from New England, and Dash Jackson for Edmonton. One second here. With regards to Huh, she is joining her teammate Dash and was a very dark horse candidate for the Bojo Biscuit all season. With regards to Troy, what more can be said given how much we sang his praises for the Scott Stevens? It really, given what we've said and given what we've seen, it really isn't a surprise. We have him back here, be it with the giveaway, takeaway, and especially how they compare to the league average. With regards to Dash, he easily led the SHL defenders in assists, be it in the regular season, and finished just 1 point shy of the point lead. I mean, given that and the fact he played, anyways, for as phenomenal as all of our nominees are, we can only have one, and our winner is Nike. Care to lead him in?
Troy McClure goes back to back to back with 3 consecutive Bojo Biscuit wins. Incredible defensive metrics across the board to match the offensive output that we talked about in the Stevens conversation. No doubt the premier defenseman in all of the league, sets the standard for playing the game at both ends of the ice. Really makes the game look easy. Plays that great, tenacious, physical style of game, but also has the finesse to keep up with the SHL's best. So a well-deserved back-to-back win for the Stevens and the Biscuit for McClure.
Next up, we have the Jeff Dar Award for Best Two-Way Forward. Representing Manhattan, we have Yuri Boyka III. Representing Edmonton, we have Sonia Solberg. And representing Seattle, we have Jefferson Steelflex. For Yuri Boyka, I mean, put simply, they were a phenomenal asset to the Manhattan roster all year. They are, simply put, not to be overshadowed by Cove, as they finished 5th in the league, wide scoring, 4th in hits, and was ultimately Manhattan's time on ice leader, and was all over the ice on special teams and on the 5-on-5. With regards to Solberg, we've seen her here time and time again. She is one of the core parts of the Edmonton squad, and the Dar is already in her back pocket. Put simply, she had yet another phenomenal season on the wing for Edmonton, finishing 4th in league-wide scoring, and also was a big part of the PK that finished 1st overall in the league. Now, for Jefferson Steelflex, he is a 7-year veteran that is getting a nod, simply put, due to the incredible stat line that Seattle had this year. He ended up finishing just outside the top 20 in goals and was also incredible on the back check with a giveaway takeaway ratio of 0.57 that is almost unheard of in the current era of the SHL. And our winner for the Jeff Dar Award is Yuri Boyka III.
Yeah, in an award show that has been dominated so far by Edmonton, New England, and Manhattan, that continues here. Boyka played most of the season on the wing with line mate Cove. Just an incredible offensive and defensive output across just a solid team. So really that offensive dynamo for Manhattan's top power play unit, but also complemented by incredible play in his own end at 5-on-5, was a big asset to the penalty kill for Manhattan. I think you mentioned it, Ara, but just the time on ice leader for Manhattan leads to playing in both ends, playing on special teams, and so Boyka certainly well deserving of the Dar Award for 85.
Without question, Mikey. Next up, we have the Ryan Jester Award for Best Rookie. Representing Texas, we have Toivo Jokinen. Representing Calgary, we have KJ Daniels, and forgive me if I butchered this one, folks. We have Rondellis Ramont. Rondellis Ringo Ramont, pardon me. Representing Texas. With regards to Toivo Jokinen, he is one of the first 2 representatives from Texas, as said on our list, and is a key part of the core that is starting to open up down in Texas. Alongside Raylan Bull, he is playing on a highly offensive third line for the Renegades, and simply put, his output on short ice time is incredible, with him leading rookies with 79 points. Or leading all rookies with 79 points. Next up is KJ Daniels. Be it the 4 shutouts in their first campaign or otherwise, it really isn't a surprise that they are getting a nod for the Jesters. Be it, or given they're on an up-and-coming Calgary team, they faced more than 1,450 shots this season and managed to finish top 10 in save percentage, which went a long way in helping Calgary find their way back to the playoffs in what was an otherwise 3-season long drought since S82. And heading back to Texas for Rondellis Ringo Ramont, they were an absolute monster for the Renegades on the ice this season. And with them being second on the team in total ice time and playing a huge number of minutes, be it on power play or on penalty kills where they were second. With a phenomenal offensive output totaling over 50 assists for a first-year defenseman, they easily deserve their nomination here. Yet with that being said, there's always a choice that has to be made, even when you have 3 elite rookies like this. And our winner is Toivo Jokinen.
Yeah, I think well said. The offensive output here is really impressive. You talked about, minutes on the third line, playing in between Rail and Bull, 2, up and coming players as well. I really just think that Toivo showed that third line in Texas there has an opportunity to be pretty dominant. And on a roster like that, where we see some incredible scorers like Hudson, who we'll talk about shortly, Jokinen's rookie season is really well deserved. Jester win here. The offensive output is incredible. It's something that you would expect out of a veteran, but seeing a rookie, lead the league and get up there above a point per game, incredible season.
It really does bode well for their SHL career, and it would not surprise me if you end up seeing them be a key part of Texas's offensive line in the coming seasons. Anyways, we move on to the Aiden Richin Award for Most Improved. Our nominees are Thomas Hudson from Texas, Aaron Noxus from Chicago, and Patrick Rail from Texas. One second here. As said, we now get our chance to talk about Hudson. He had shown flashes of greatness starting back in Buffalo, and he only seems to have gotten better after he moved to the Renegades in S81. But this past season, he really showed what he could do to the rest of the league, and that he wasn't just a flash in the pan. With regards to Aaron Noxus, while the Syndicate's top 2 lines continued to hum right along, Noxus led the third unit and ended up being a welcome surprise for the Syndicate in S85. With nearly 30 points improvement from his last season, he, during his third year, found his footing and really started to make strides and contribute heavily to Chicago's power play. Now, with regards to Patrick, you may hear a lot about players hitting a sophomore slump, but I think it's safe to say that Patrick does not know of that concept. And that really showed for him and the Texas offense this season. You've seen it with his line mate, Yokenin, winning the Jester, but with Rail and the rest of the Texas offense, you saw them make an incredible leap forward this season, especially in Patrick's 55-point improvement over last season. I mean, all in all, you have an incredible set of 3 highly improved players here. And I can only imagine what you guys on the committee have to look at to get this. So, with that being said, I'll turn things over to you now that we have our winner, Thomas Hudson.
Yeah, the Rishon this season goes to Thomas Hudson. All right, I think as you mentioned, right, yeah, when you look back, Hudson starting his career in Buffalo, plays a couple of seasons there, joins the Renegades in '81, gets a great jump in terms of offensive output, and has been a little bit over a point per game player in the last couple of years with Texas, but seeing this incredible jump immediately into the upper echelon of point scorers in the league, 114 points this season, led that roster by a large margin. When you start to tally season over season goal totals from 28 to 64, like far and away winner here when you start to talk about most improved. Incredible season for Hudson, and the winner of this S85 Rishon Award.
Now, moving right along, we have the Lance Uppercut Award for Best GM Duo, and I'm going to go ahead and cut my co-host off here so this doesn't turn into the Nike Glaze session. Sorry, my man. Our nominees are Nike and Noxu for the Chicago Syndicate, Skurhawk and the Loki Wild for Manhattan, and Luke and the Hills Have Hats for the Wolfpack. What can I say about Nike and Noxu that wasn't said last year? I mean, after all, they were our winners, and they played a bit of Tetris this offseason and did incredibly well in putting together one of the strongest rosters in in the Western Conference. And be it on the ice or off the ice, they did incredibly well, and it showed. Skurhawk and Loki, some may call them Manhattan's dynamic duo, and I think that is an apt description. After taking a few seasons to really start to jive together, Sky and Loki put together a very high-end roster that struck terror into the hearts of the Eastern Conference throughout the entire season. Adding Langston, Haddison, Laurent in the offseason from the Aurora helped position the offense to take yet another step forward, and that ended up showing in how it was Langston's best season of his career so far. And finally, we have Luke and the Hills Have Hats. New England is a perennial well-performing team. Some might even say they're a bit of a boring choice. They're not overly flashy. They don't really engage in the trade game, but it is hard to ignore the consistency Luke and skill Luke have shown in an offseason where they pick up one of the top goaltenders in the SHL for a future second. As always, we have 3 incredible nominees, but there's always one that has to come out on top. And our winners are Nike and Noxu. And yes, Nike, I will let you indulge a little bit here. Go ahead.
No, I think it's just a privilege to be named GM Duo of the Year. I owe a lot of kudos to my partner in crime, Noxu, does a lot of hard work. You just walked through the other nominees, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention how talented, and how fun it is to compete against Luke and Hills and Sky and Loki. It's a great group to be a part of, and so just super humbled.
I mean, overall, you guys are a phenomenal set of GMs, as are Luke and as are Sky and Loki. I mean, while I'm not a GM myself, I always enjoy watching the teams y'all put together compete out on the ice. So here's looking at all you, and I look forward to seeing what y'all accomplish and what manner of tactics and craziness y'all put together on the ice next season. Next up, we had the Joe McKeel Award for Best Coaches. For the Blizzard, we have Cake 307, Naomi McQueen, Raman Ahmed, and Revan Toulette. For the Manhattan Rage, we have Sky and Brenadier. And then for the Philadelphia Forge, we have Axolap and Kale Salad. 1 second here. With regards to Edmonton, put simply, they have one of the most committed coaching groups in the SHL and one of the deepest brain trusts and examples of coaching by committee. And you see that in how it has led to back-to-back-to-back SHL finals appearances and 2 cup wins. And again, I know it may be controversial to say, but there's a reason they keep going back to the finals, and it is in no small part due to that coaching staff. For Manhattan, Sky and Brenadier really surprised a lot of folks this season with how incredible they started it. All season, it was clear that they were willing to think creatively outside of the box and try things that may be a little unorthodox, and that ended up paying off in them shooting to the top of the Eastern standards. For Axolap and Kale, the Forge remain a perennial top contender in the East, despite getting another season older. They are reliable, they are conventional, but their consistency continues to lead them to playoff appearances time after time, and it is due in large part to how strong this coaching team and GMs are. And for our winner, it is the Manhattan Rage coaching staff, Sky and Brenadier. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations to both of y'all. I think, as Ara mentioned, right, the willingness to do something a little bit creative this year, I think, went certainly noticed by fellow GMs, other players. There was a creative bit of roster building alongside some different tactics, and it was just kind of really interesting to watch that the way that Manhattan got the most out of their roster this year. I think that it's no doubt that they have a top flight, really top end group of players when you start to talk about Cove and Boyka and the depth of that roster overall. But the coaching staff in Manhattan, they came out of the gate incredible this season. I think they won the first 20 games or so. Over 100-point finish, 149 goal differential. They really did something special, and the offensive output is really, really cool. So congrats, Sky and Brenna. It's a great award, and I know that you guys worked hard at this all season, so well deserved.
Then next up, we have the Damian Littleton Award for Most Dedicated User. Our nominees are Revan Toulette, freaking cat again, Enigmatic, and Cake 307. Now, on Enigmatic, they spend an enormous amount of time helping maintain and flesh out the league's trading card system, especially this year. I mean, put simply, it's been an incredible year for the card team, and while I'm certain Enigmatic would say it was a team effort, their effort, especially their own, has not gone unnoticed. With regards to Revan Toulette, I said that they did an excellent job as Raman's Co. in QCC, but what they do for Edmont, and I said the same for them as part of Cake's coaching staff for the Joe McKeel. But there's something to be said with the amount of time, effort, and skill they invest into Edmonton's coaching and tactics season after season, and how much they have done to help turn a team that was mid-tier and rebuilding into a perennial finalist, be it in helping manage rosters, helping set up lines or tactics, and being an active force in the locker room. She is one of the key pillars, both of the Edmonton Brain Trust and their community. That is before we even mention how she has been a great mentor to many players in both QCC and in the Blizzard, as well as helped define many rookies their footing in the SHL. And our last nominee is Cake 307. Some of you may know her as the driving force behind the St. Louis Scarecrows' phenomenal wins and playoff appearances. Others may know her for her role in leading the Blizzard to their 2 cup wins as a rookie mentor or elsewhere. Put simply, she is a pillar of the community, one of the shining examples of what it means to be an SHL user, a perennial fixture in multiple locker rooms, and a mentor to many, and a good friend. All in all, between these 3, you cannot ask for finer members of our league and community members. With that being said, our winner of the Damian Littleton is enigmatic. Be it in going above and beyond for the league by placing a large emphasis on the cards, helping keep them organized, designing new sets, and giving their work and team of passion, you couldn't ask for more from. All in all, excellent job to all of our nominees, and kudos to you, Enigmatic.
Yeah, I think any in the team do a lot of work behind the scenes. I think that the card portal just actually passed 1 million cards open this past season, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. There are, I'm just taking a quick peek now, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, like 15 different categories of cards, just like the customization and creating something that's so fun for the whole league to be involved with. As you mentioned before, Any will probably say, it's a team effort, but we know how much Enigmatic goes above and beyond for the whole site, and it's something that keeps somebody, keeps folks around the league really interested in something other than just the sim results. So it's a lot of fun.
Agreed. And also, slight correction to what I said on Revon Toulette. They're also a member of the PT team that does an excellent job taking on tasks and working with the unenviable tasks of getting backups for those tasks done. But that being said, congrats to Enigmatic, and well done to our other 2 nominees. Next up, we have the Ron Mexico Award for Most Valuable Player. Back from Manhattan, we have Elib Cove. Representing Atlanta, we have Nathangus McExplosion. And back for the Blizzard, we have Gwendolyn Tellen. We have already talked about the incredible seasons for Cove and Tellen, be it with the McDonald win for the former or the Kartpotsov win for the latter. Joining them here is the Inferno's McExplosion, who ended up finishing top 5 in the league, scoring with 50 plus goals and a 100-point plus season. And that's before we even mention the fact that they led the forecheck as the league's number 2 in hits by a forward. I mean, put together, that really is a special season for not just them, but all 3. And all 3 of them were deserving an MVP nomination this year. And just a sidebar, I know I sound like a broken record, but I do not envy the committee for having to select between 3 incredible users. But anyway, our winner for the Ron Mexico is Elib Cove.
Yeah, I think when you look at Cove here, the committee voted based on the whole picture of the season, the Manhattan goal scorer is yet again, taking home another piece of hardware. Cove's 5-on-5 scoring, I think, is probably the difference maker as the committee's trying to make a decision. Obviously, a solid defensive two-way game, but really, the majority of the goals coming at even strength, while also playing time on both the power play and the penalty kill. He proved really that he has what it takes to lead a top team in the league, and so Cove with a wonderful season here, rounded out by the Ron Mexico.
Then next up, we have the Anton Razov Award for Playoff MVP. First up, representing Atlanta, we have Denibor Milash. Then representing Edmonton, we have Alexa Johansson. And then back again for Manhattan, we have Yuri Boyka III. Now, we've seen Alexa and we've seen Alexa and God damn it, fucking cat. Yuri Boyka III before, and as said, but I do think it helps to reintroduce Alexa here, since some may not quite remember her from last season. She receives her first nomination of the S85 season, but isn't a stranger to the output required to take a team deep into the playoffs. And we see Boyka's name back yet again alongside Cove. Boyka put together an incredible offensive output in the first 3 rounds before Manhattan was sent packing by Milash in Atlanta. Speaking of them, the Atlanta netminder ended up posting a playoff-leading 3.233 goals, saved above average, and ended up leading Atlanta to their 4th straight final or Challenge Cup appearance. Put simply, you have 3 phenomenal players here that have each shined in their own way. Yet, with that being said, our winner is Denibor Milash. Despite the fact they ended up falling in the Challenge Cup final to Edmonton, the Inferno didn't make it out of the East without the incredible play by Denibor. And given they led the entire playoffs in saves, save percentage, and GSAA. While for many seasons, Atlanta's entire roster has carried the torch to the finals, this time it was Denibor that really stole the show for this postseason. Truly, well done, Denibor. Then next up, we have the Sarmid Khan Award for Players MVP. Representing Edmonton, we have Gwendolyn Tillin. Back again for Manhattan, we have Elib Cove. And representing Edmonton, we have, back yet again, Abby Wright back. And our winner for the Sarmid Khan is Gwendolyn Tillin. She is the former 1st overall section from S77 and did it again. With her 2nd consecutive 100-point season, she put together a truly astounding 137 points this campaign on what was already a highly competitive team. And with that, she earns a very well-deserved league MVP. Or, simply put, the league has spoken, Gwen. The con is yours. Congratulations. And with that, folks, we reach the end of our show. Thank you for watching, and it has been a pleasure getting to put this on for y'all. And with that, Nike and I bid you farewell. See you again next season.
And a big thank you to our awards committees for all the work that they do, putting the votes together, the events committee for helping us get organized tonight. And obviously a big thank you to our and Visu behind the curtain, who was helping us run the run the slide. So a big thank you to the whole team, but it takes a whole group to put this together. So big thanks to everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, y'all. Don't party too hard. And to the team, be it in events, be it broadcast, awards committee, y'all have my heartfelt thanks, and it was a pleasure to work with y'all once again. Otherwise, take care, y'all. Stay safe and enjoy your new